Hey friend, thanks so much for popping in. I want to talk to you today on the subject, helping Jesus help you. I don't know if you realize this, but Jesus is actually working on your behalf and you have the ability to help him help you. What am I talking about? Hebrews 7 verse 25 says that Jesus always lives to make intercession for us. What's Jesus' role right now? Is that of high priest and intercessor. Many people think that when Jesus went to heaven, it was because his work was done and he went there to retire. He didn't. He went there to be your high priest. The high priest is someone who goes to God on your behalf. He's your intercessor. If you want to dumb it down a little bit, he is praying for you. Now you might say, Steve, if Jesus is praying for me, he has a really weak prayer life because my life sucks. No, he doesn't. You have a part to play in all of this, and that's what I want to talk about with you over the next couple minutes. Here's a verse for you. It's Hebrews 4, verse 14. It says, therefore, since we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our confession. All right, what's that saying? It's saying, since Jesus is up there praying for us, we've got to be really careful what we say. Isn't that interesting? That the writer of Hebrews connects those two things. He's basically saying what you say down here on earth has an impact on what Jesus says about you up in heaven's courtroom. Jesus said, if you confess me before men, I'll confess you before the Father and the angels. He said, if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before the Father and the angels. Now, most people, when they hear that, they just think of some radical, extreme situation, and go, well, if someone put a gun to my head and said, deny Jesus or die, I wouldn't do it. Let me tell you something, friend, that's probably likely not going to happen. But that is not the only way we deny Jesus. It's not just in life and death situations. Christians deny Jesus every single day. It doesn't mean they go to hell, but it does mean that he is not confessing them before the Father and the angels. You say, how do I deny the Lord? Every time you whine and complain about your finances and say, oh man, I'll never have enough. I'm never going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent. What are you doing? You're denying Jesus as your provider. What is he then doing on your behalf before the Father and the angels? Not a lot. What about when you confessing and talking about sickness and how you always get sick and here comes the flu and I'll probably get it? What are you doing? You're denying Jesus as your healer. What is he then doing before the Father and the angels on your behalf? Nothing. You see, Jesus, his intercession for you is not based, I wish it was, it's not based on his will for your life. Listen to me. Jesus' intercession for you is not based on his will for your life. His intercession for you is based on the confession that comes out of your mouth. You say, I need a verse for that? It's Hebrews 3 verse 1. It says, consider Jesus the apostle and high priest of our confession. He's not just your high priest. He's the high priest of your confession. So, if your confession is, my wife is a neg, my children are brats, I always get sick, and I'm never going to have enough financially because my boss is a dink. Sorry, I shouldn't say dink, but this is Oil Patch Pulpit. This is not PTO. My boss is a jerk. If that's your confession, friend, you're not giving your high priest a whole lot to work with. He's the high priest of your confession. But if your confession is, God is restoring my marriage, I know it, I believe it in Jesus' name. Maybe your wife doesn't want anything to do with you, but your confession is, God is restoring my marriage. God is changing my children. God is healing my body. I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent, but I thank God it'll be paid because Jesus Christ is my provider and he always comes through for me. Now, if that's your confession, what is Jesus, your high priest, doing before the Father and the angels? He's saying, Father, angels, listen up. Joe is confessing that I'm his healer. Angels, get to work. Get that healing happening now. He's confessing that I'm his provider. money angels get to work. This actually happens. Jesus is the high priest of your confession. So we need to be very careful what we say with our mouth. We need to be careful about our words. Let us hold fast, Hebrews 10:23. Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope. Think about that. For he who promised is faithful. Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope. What is the confession of your hope? See, most people don't have one. Most people don't confess their hope. Only thing they confess is everything they're afraid of, everything they hate, and everything that's annoying them. We need to be confessing and talking about the things we're hoping for. What are you hoping for your marriage, for your children, for your finances, for your intimacy and your relationship with God? That's what you need to be speaking. Your mouth is powerful. Proverbs 18:21 says that the tongue has the power of life and death. And those who love it eat its fruit. Those who love the tongue are those who speak life because they understand that the tongue is powerful and it directs the life. If you look at James, he says the same thing. James chapter 3, verse 4 and 5 basically says that your tongue, listen to this, it's the rudder of your life. Just like a big ship is steered by a tiny little rudder, he says, it's the same with your tongue. If you want to know how you got into this mess that you're in right now, your tongue got you here because your tongue is what steers your life. If you want to know where you're going in the future, I could sit down with you for 10 minutes, and if I could listen to you talk, I can tell you where you're going because your tongue is pointing you to your destiny. Friend, I know. Don't even go there. I know some of you, I can hear you right now saying, I've heard all that positive confession mumbo jumbo from all the faith preachers. Let me tell you something. You need to be listening to those faith preachers when they talk about all that positive confession mumbo jumbo because it will change your life. What you say with your mouth will absolutely change your life. Confession is powerful, and it's one of the greatest ways that we help Jesus help us. What you say down here has a huge impact on what he says up there. So if you want some angels being released your way today, if you need the Father working on your behalf, friend, focus on your words because that is what's steering your life. I hope that's a blessing to you. I know you know that, but you needed to hear it again. We just need to be reminded of these things again and again. Watch your mouth. It'll take you places.